After you paid your bills, question everything you spend money on. Everything. Is this something you need? Something you want? Because, this economy could last for a while. It could change dramatically in a short period of time. It can get worse. We don't know. So it's better to prepare. Prepared, trust me, life is going to happen. And you're going to get a hit. I got hit with a $13,000 sewage bill a week before I left to go on my book tour in Australia. Do you think I needed a bill like that after all the money I'm putting out to go to Australia? No, that was crushing. But so hold on to your money, because life will happen. It will cost you. But just question everything you spend money on outside of the bills you're paying, especially with credit cards.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's the Author Podcast. We're going to get our mindset on money. I like how that's framed. Bill's here. We're going to be talking about his book. We're going to be talking about money. We're going to talk about veterans coming back into civilian life, and some of the things that Bill has done to help people in that way. He's got so many great things going on. We have a mutual friend in Trunis Goggins, and I love Trunis. He's a great guy, and he's connected the two of us. So I have the privilege of now getting to meet and getting to know Bill. I've listened to his audiobook for our mindset on money. It's a fabulous audiobook. Go grab a copy of that. Grab a copy of the paperback as well, and you're going to love Bill. Bill, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's exciting to have you here. We had a quick chat earlier, and now I've heard you in my head. You kept me company at work as I've been listening to your audiobook. I love that you voiced your own book, Bill. It's amazing. Tell us a little bit. Let's just jump into where you are. First of all, let's start there. In this great big world of ours, where are you? Where do you live?
I live just north of the city of Chicago, so a little bit in the country, very close to the Wisconsin border.
Is that home for you, like your whole life, or more recent?
No, it's I've been here for the last 21 years.
Okay.
But I've been in Chicagoland since, on and off since 1972.
Your connection to Trunis, how did the two of you cross paths? I'm curious about this.
Well, I honestly, I like Trunis a lot too, but and probably because he's my partner in a number of things that we're doing together, including businesses. But we ham and egg it. He has his book, The 4 Ps, out, and so he talks about mental aspects of life, and I talk about the mental aspects of life in finance. So we go hand in hand, and it works very well in a number of opportunities, in a number of situations. One of them being the military. You mentioned transitioning to civilian life. The number one concern is money and finance. And then the number two concern is the mental aspect of that transition. So he and I can work together to help alleviate those concerns. Yeah. And we're working on a number of ways of doing that.
I have his 4 Ps on a sticky note right in front of me: purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. I keep bringing it up to everybody and sending them to Trunis because he's a great human, right?
Don't tell them I only know like 2 of the 4 Ps, but
All right, Trunis is probably going to hear this. So we got to be very careful what we say. But I like it. This is great. Okay, so what about Bill? Let's talk a little bit about your author journey. We have authors who are wanting to be where you are, published author. They're just starting. They're early in their journey. What would have been helpful for you to hear prior to writing Our Mindset on Money?
The one thing I kept hearing over and over again was, you don't write a book to make money. And I said, well, here, hold my beer. Because most people, they write a book and then they self-publish. And I learned from people that that can be a death knell of your book. If you self-publish, and I hate to say on Amazon, but you don't do the steps that need to be done. And like getting ISBN numbers so that your book can get into schools and libraries and the Congress of Library of Congress. You don't do proofreading. I had a radio show for 4 years, and I had many authors, and they all gave me their books. And I almost quit reading forever because the books were so horrible I couldn't get through them. All because they just weren't proofread. Poor grammar, poor spelling, things of that nature. You have to go through the steps, and with an editor, and a publisher, copywriter. You need a team. It's not cheap, but it's not terribly expensive. It just, there's a lot of people out there willing to help you. But you got to be careful who you pick and work with. Don't believe everything, because once you've written the book, which, by the way, is the easiest part, is writing the book. Publishing it is challenging. And then once it's published, the hard part starts. You got to go push it. You got to sell it.
Right.
Get out there. For me, my book is a tool. It's not just, oh, now I'm an author, everybody read my book. It's a tool for me to be able to do many, many more things. It's just part of the credibility.
So Bill, you come along and meet people at different stages of their financial journey. Some people are in some pretty serious spots financially where it doesn't even feel like there's any kind of hope for them financially to get out of where they are. Can you think of an example, a situation where you met with somebody and it seemed like there were no options for them in the moment from their perspective, but you're listening to them tell their story and you're like, oh, I could help you. Like, can you give us an example?
Well, how about I use myself for an example?
I like that. Okay.
Even though I'm considered subject matter expert on finance, it doesn't mean I know everything, and it doesn't mean I can't get hurt too. And in 2005, I sold my home and made a wonderful profit. Thought, oh, I should be in real estate. I know it runs in my family, and I brilliant move. Made a bunch of money on a home after 11 years of owning it, and then built this beautiful brand new built in 2005. So I paid the highest price you could pay to have a house. And lo and behold, 2 years later, homes were selling at about 40% that were all around me that were built also. And they were selling at 40% of what we paid for it. And I got crushed. And then my 20-year career in the trading pits ended when electronics took over. A year after that, my wife was let go from her job, and we got hit by the perfect storm, and we lost our home. And we had family that reached out and said, let us help you. And I just said, you know what? I got to take my medicine. I made mistakes, and I learned from them and moved on. And lo and behold, I'm in the same neighborhood. I own a home again in that same neighborhood. So you got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, pull those boots on, get a glove, get back in the game. And that's what I did. So I don't just claim to be writing something that, here's what you should do. And I don't tell people what to do. I talk about real life experiences that I've had. And, I look at that as a true failure. I mean, my kids were old enough to know something bad was happening. And that's a very challenging thing to go through, to face your wife and children and know that you failed horrendously. And that you just got to fight and find your way back. You just can't give up. And fortunately, the good Lord blessed me enough to slowly bring me along, and and I've made it all the way back. And here I am, supposed to be retiring in a few months, and I'm just starting to build a business and grow and travel and write a book. And I'm busier now than I've ever been since my trading pit days.
There you go. Well,
yeah.
You say you're in the same neighborhood, same area. Is it bittersweet to kind of go back into see your previous home and the neighborhood where you would have been had everything worked the way you want?
I think about it from time to time. And I do see it. I'm in what's called phase one, and I had built originally in phase two. And it doesn't hurt. It was a life experience, and there's a reason for it. And the good Lord put me through all kinds of financial tests to get me to the point where, as I think I've mentioned to you, where he tapped me on the shoulder on January 29th in 2022 and says, now I need you. And I need you to go out and I need you to teach financial literacy because I've put you through the ringer. And I've put you in positions where you can learn from very high levels to very low levels and all the experiences in between. So, and to be honest with you, the house I'm in now would have been the model I should have built when I built the first one anyway. So I like this one better. And it's in a quieter spot.
It'd be interesting because it's kind of like, it's bittersweet, the house that you had imagined and fallen in love with and had built and plans on setting your roots down in that spot. If you see it, you're just like, oh, a missed opportunity possibly. But I love that your perspective is so focused on where you are, not where you wanted to be, but where you are now. I love that perspective.
Look, Dave, I miss the staircase with the wrought iron railings that I envision watching my daughter come down from, for prom, like
Right.
Everybody does, right? And the decorations for Christmas and the things, there's things you miss, but life goes on. Life happens, and life goes on. You either, like I said, get a glove, get in the game, or I don't know what else you could do. I don't know how you can give up.
Okay, so for your book, Bill, one of the things I took away from that is just the idea that as people who don't really understand finances, like, because we don't go to school for this, really, it's not taught very well in our public school system, or even as adults, we don't learn great habits from our parents or our community. A lot of this is self-taught, right? What do you think for your audience, for your book, what do you think that people are struggling with right now financially, which seems to be kind of a common thing? Is it around debt? Is it around investments? Like, where do you think people are struggling right now the most?
Debt's a big one. Debt is a very big one because there's good debt and bad debt, right? Good debt is incurred when you're using it to bring more income in. Bad debt are depreciating assets or things that you'll never get your money back on, right? And we have the highest credit card debt in the history of credit cards at the highest interest rate ever for credit cards. That's a bad combination. And people are going to feel the pain. And the thing we don't understand is the more we use our credit, because we're using future money, right? So at the end of the month, when we're done paying our bills, if we have high credit card debt, that's taking more of our money out of our pocket that we could be using for other things and other opportunities. Meaning we have less incidental funds to spend at the end of the day or the end of the month. And people don't realize that there's all kinds of things happening within a budget that are picking your pocket that eventually you don't have incidental money. And that's when you're in trouble. That's when everything is going towards paying down debt. And that can get you into a lot of trouble. That's when the waterline is getting right above your nose.
In a world of content creators who talk about money, there's a lot of famous people who talk about money and opinionated people that talk about money. And they seem to be doing very well behind the scenes themselves as they preach money and mindset around money. What is your book different? How is your book different than some of those big, famous money talkers out there? What's different about your mindset on money?
Yeah, I've come across a number of people when I was an advisor that had worked with certain systems, and I would say, "How long have you been in that system?" They go, "Oh, 11 years." And I go, "Oh, isn't that a 4-year system? And you're still paying for it 11 years later?" Well, that's how those guys are making some of that kind of money. I don't tell people what to do with their money. I just talk. It's a conversation about what you can expect in life and how money controls you, and how you can get control of your money back. Because once you do, you're going to see things in life that you've been missing forever. If we spend far too much of our time every day worrying about money or thinking about money, And when you do that, you're less productive, probably have troublesome relationships, stress, health issues, work issues. But if you get control of your money, and that's not a worry anymore, less stress, better health, better relationships, more productive. Even in businesses that teach their employees financial literacy, they show even greater retention and better relationships amongst the different peers. It can do wonderful things, and it doesn't take a lot of words to get that message across. And my book's only 16, 18 pages.
Yeah.
But it's packed with a lot of information that everybody should know about. The problem with finances is we're taught not to talk about money. It's taboo.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to say anything to anybody about money. In fact, when I was an advisor, I'd stand in front of groups and I would say, there's two things most spouses never talk about. That's money and sex. I'd say to the group, I'm here to help you with one of those. And you're trying to break down that wall because people don't want to talk about money.
Right.
And so for me in writing this book, this is just a personal conversation between me and the reader, or the listener in your case.
I think that the one thing too is I have friends who have like nice cars and all that, and they'll get compliments. They're like, "Oh man, I love your car," and they're like, "Oh, thanks." Yeah. Like they made it, but they didn't make it.
Right.
They went to a dealership and they put money down, and it's probably more of a debt than it is anything
absolutely.
for them, right? So instead of saying, "Hey man, I love your car," we should be saying, "Hey, I love your debt." Like look at that debt, this shiny debt. Look at that. Wow.
Love your car, don't love your debt.
Fast debt you got there. But it's like people take pride in the things that they have, and they become status symbols, houses, cars, whatever.
Bingo. You hit it on the head.
Right?
It's status.
Why? What are we trying to fill from your point of view? What gap are we trying to fill by having these things?
Perception. We want to be perceived to be wealthier and therefore smarter by association than we are. That we're more successful than we are. That's why we'll buy that expensive car that everybody says, "Oh, cool," or we'll buy that bigger house in that neighborhood. The jewelry we wear, the clothes we buy. I mean, I was just looking at I just saw something about clothes in spring, and it's like, why can't I just wear last year's spring clothes? And I'm like, well, because the colors have changed. I'm like, oh, well, I don't care. We care about how we look. We care about how we present. We care about what others perceive us to be far more than we need to. And just watch any of the news channels. When they come back from a commercial, whether it's a guy or a gal that's behind the counter, they're all fixing their hair and trying to look beautiful and good. And it just cracks me up. It's like, no, just tell me the news. I don't care what you look like. But that's people will spend into debt and even into bankruptcy to make it look like they're wealthier and smarter and more successful than they are. I mean, look at that TV show, Airplane Repo.
Right. Oh, yeah.
They're going out and stealing multi-million-dollar planes back from wealthy people who aren't paying for them. It's because they can't.
Mm.
So it's not just folks that, poverty level. It's all levels of money and income and from people.
Do you have a different definition of what wealthy means, Bill, compared to maybe what's out there in the world?
I will tell you, if you get control of your money, and which is not hard to do, and everybody said, they go, what? That's how I came up with the name of the book. It's easy to control, so why don't we? Because I said that on a podcast show, and the gal interviewed me, said, what? And I said, how is that possible? And it really is, and it's not hard. And if you get that control back, you will be a much happier person. You will live a better life. You will be able to go out and have dinner and not worry about what it costs. You will be able to take that trip, or maybe buy that one gift that you've been looking to get and not feel guilty about it. You'll see things in life and feel things in life that you hadn't felt before, because now you're able to, because you're not being blinded by the money aspect of it. I think that's a great gift right there.
Yeah, and then the whole idea about you can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
Yeah.
So if you have, if time is your measurement of wealth, and the time you can invest in your family and in community and serving others, maybe that's more
what
wealthy.
life has to offer,
right?
you know? Yeah. You enjoy that nature walk more. You just the little things in life start to blossom, and then just you enjoy it more. And that would be a wonderful thing for everybody. We could maybe all live a little better lives and a little less frictional,
and leave a better legacy behind us as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, because when I think of like fancy cars, I'm like, every car that drives off the car lot, it's a used car. It's going to be for sale eventually. So, the newness is kind of worn off in a microsecond as you pull away from the dealership.
Look at people who take those 5 and 6 and 7 year loans on a car.
Right.
That loses 50% of value in 3 years.
Yeah.
So you could technically be underwater on your loan. You could owe more than the car is worth in 3 years.
Yeah.
But you're paying a lower price and you got the car you wanted. It looks good on you and you look good in it, and I've got to have it. That's why, like dealerships, they say, well, how much are you looking to pay? And it's how much you're looking to pay per month.
Right. They
never ask about the full price of the car, because as soon as they figure out how much you're willing to pay per month, they know what car to try and slide you into.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is then they upsell you and they put you in a little bit nicer car with more bells and whistles, and you're just like, oh, this is so me. I know it's $75 more a month, but I can figure that out. But it's $75 more a month for 60, 72, 84 months that you can't use for anything else.
Right. That money's spent.
Including opportunity.
Yes.
And, if we look at it that way, we start to question our spending habits. And that's a very, very important step. Question what you're buying. Do you really need it? Do you want it? If you really want it, one thing I learned was I remember going into a store and I had no money, and I looked around the store and everything looked great. And I was like, man, I wish I could get this stuff. 2 weeks later, I went back, flush with cash. I looked at all the stuff and I'm like, doesn't look that good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And a bell went off in my head and just said, hello. And so that instant gratification, you got to hold off on, especially on big purchases, but even small ones, because they add up. Right. A cup of coffee a day at Starbucks adds up.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody wants to know how much they spend at Starbucks.
Thankfully, this show is not sponsored by Starbucks, because they would be like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like $7, $10 for a drink.
We can edit out and put another coffee company in there.
But it's amazing what becomes our new normal. And we accept it, and we don't even challenge ourselves. We're just like, yeah, we have so many, probably we have multiple memberships to things we've totally forgotten about. This recently, I have my cable internet for my podcast and all the stuff I do with podcasting. So I have an internet package, and it's tied to a satellite dish on my house, which I've had forever. And I've realized that we've been paying $15 a month for TV we never watch. And every month, $15 comes off. Boom, boom, boom. And we've never clicked the button on our remote to watch anything on that $15 a month channel. And I'm like, what are we doing? My wife and I looked at each other and we're like, I didn't even think we were paying for that anymore.
Yeah, we're all guilty. I mean, even kids are buying coffees and stuff at Starbucks because it's a status symbol, right? Mm. We can afford to be here. When I talk to junior colleges and community colleges and their financial classrooms, I'll ask them, how much do you spend on fast food every day? And everybody raises their hand. I go, now imagine how much you spend, $10, $12, $15 a day? Yeah, it's like $12, $15. I said, okay, every day. Well, 5 days a week. Okay. So think about that. $75. Let's say it's $15 a day, 5 days a week, $75 a week. That's $300 a month. They're like, whoa. I said, what could you do if I gave you $300 every month? Well, what could you accomplish with that? Oh, I could do a lot with that. Hello? I just gave it to you.
Yeah.
All you got to do is stop eating fast food. Now, that doesn't give you the $300 back. You still got to buy food, but you get the point. It's and we do this. I see new coffee shops and fast food chains and stores popping up around me all the time. And it just amazes me how people flock to them.
Yeah.
And then complain, where'd my money go at the end of the month? Or we're short, those commercials, we're short on bills this month. Well, that's okay. Just download this app. We'll borrow $500 and we'll pay it and we're all good. Except for next month, those bills are still coming right back at you. And you got another one you got to now pay.
Right.
I love the commercial where it's a young girl. And I won't say the company name, but it's my money and I want it now. And so to get a paycheck a couple days early, which only works once, by the way, folks. And it's just like, okay, did you earn it yet? Did you not sign an agreement when you got hired that these are the days when you get paid? This is how much you get paid. This is how you get paid. And now you're sitting there going, no, it's my money and I want it now. And it's just like, boy, oh boy, that person is going to get hit hard in life, because life will bring you back to reality very quickly if you have that mindset.
Okay, Bill, I just had a nudge from the audience. They're not here, but they're like, Bill just said that only works once. Please don't let that go, Dave. Please ask, can you please expand on that a little bit? What does that mean?
Yeah, so once? If you get your paycheck 2 days early, let's say you're paid by every 2 weeks. You get your paycheck 2 days early. Well, if you do that every time, it's the same thing as getting it every 2 weeks. So it's a one and done deal. Okay. Now, if you're able to get it 2 days early once and then go back to your regular time frame, okay, it can work again. But how many people actually can do that?
Right.
Not many. Once you get the money 2 days early, you've already started spending it. It's like when you get a bonus. It's Christmas time. Your company pays bonuses. You're going to get it. So what do? Yeah. You're either thinking about how to spend it, or or you've already started spending it, or you've even already spent it, and you don't even know how much you're getting. Anybody watch Christmas Vacation?
Yes.
Chevy Chase?
Oh, yes.
Building the pool in the backyard. Wanted that $50,000 bonus. And what did he get? A jam,
meal of the month or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Fruit of the month or something like that. But we're all guilty of it. I've done it too. And that's our mindset. And we have to get away from that. If you can get back to spending what you have and what you make and hopefully have leftover, and you will if you learn how to take control back. Like I said, when you're freed from that stress, so many other things can happen for you. So many good things come out of that. It's not hard.
So, Bill, how can your book help somebody who is behind and they need to make some changes? Is it good advice for us to start focusing on the smaller amounts that we owe and get them out of our way first? Focus on the big things first? Well, where's the starting point?
There's two methods. One is called the snowball effect, was where you pick off the smaller loans first and pay those off.
Okay.
And you start feeling better about yourself and you start climbing that mountain to get the bigger ones. Then there's the avalanche one, which is the one that has the highest interest rate. You start paying down first because that's the one that's sucking up money. Because maybe it's a $5,000 credit card bill at 26%.
Yeah.
You're better off chipping away at that than you are paying off that one that loan that you have that's at 3%. Right. That's only for $300. But those are the two directions you can go. The snowball effect, where you work your way up the ladder, or the avalanche effect, where you work your way down the ladder, are the two ways to handle that. The way to get there is you really have to understand your spending habits. And unfortunately, the only way to do that is to do a budget so that you can see where your money is going and the fixed costs, your mortgages, your car payments, your variables, utilities, and credit cards, and then your incidentals. That's what you have left over after you've paid all your bills. Where does that money go? That's where you get control. So once you understand where that money goes, you're going to start to question your spending of that money. And that's when the real magic begins. So you once you learn what, whether it's marketing, those ethos, pathos, logos types of marketing that compels you to spend your money. Once you learn how that affects you and you can control that, I've got my press release gal. She just came to me and said, I finished your book. I was on Amazon. I had like 12 things in my cart that I was going to buy. And after reading your book, I went back to that cart and I eliminated 7 of the 12 things. And she goes, it saved me money. Because I see it. I feel it now. Mm-hmm. And she was very thankful for that. So it's it works. And I'm not charging you every month to show you in a club or telling you where to put your money or where to spend. I don't tell people what to invest in or anything. I tell them there are different investment opportunities. Here's how they work. I do say things like, if you're looking for a financial advisor, you want to look for one that sits down with you and says, like, and the first thing they're going to say to you is, so what are you trying to do? And what have you done already to get there? Instead of saying, oh, how much do you have? And I have just the perfect place to put it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Interesting.
That's the difference between a good and a bad financial advisor.
You mentioned to me that you were working with veterans, and you had an example of people coming back home after serving their country and then trying to integrate back into life. And some veterans will go out and buy something extraordinary to kind of welcome themselves back to reality, back to home life, like a car or something. And kind of the mentality behind why they make such a substantial purchase right out of the service back into, civilian life. Can you explain that?
Well,
I thought that was fascinating.
Well, so they'll actually do that about a month before they get out.
Okay.
Before they transition to civilian life. And the purpose being is they get a bonus. So once you're leaving, you get a bonus and you got more money than you probably ever had in your life. And most people aren't comfortable having a lot of money on hand because we're supposed to spend it. That's what we've been taught our whole lives, right? I mean, and imagine being in the military. Now you've gone from birth until whatever age you're coming out of the military, where pretty much all of your needs have been provided for you.
Right.
So all you've ever focused on are your wants. So a car is a big want. And I'm going to need a car. I'm getting out of going into the civilian world. I'm going to need a car for a job. I may not even know what the job is yet. May not have it yet. May not know what I'm going to make. May not know what I can afford, but I have this money now and I'm going to buy this car. Very common practice from what I've learned in my conversations with those who have made that transition. Mm-hmm. And I personally, if I'm going to be making a major transition in my life, the last thing I'm going to do is spend big bucks on a product or a service.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that's great. And then we talked before we jumped on that you're going to be working in the future, helping people come from prison life back into civilian life. And they're going to come from the opposite direction where they have nothing really. They don't have any bonus or anything. They're coming into civilian life. They're starting from zero. And they're going to rebuild in an opposite direction. So for that person, what kind of would you give them as some guiding principles?
Yeah, that's for parolees. And this is where Trunis Goggin comes in, because he has started this. And again, he and I like to work together because he does the 4 Ps, right? And especially the planning aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I'll help with the financial aspect, because again, if you understand money as opposed to just saying, I want it, I need it, I got to get it, which probably got you into trouble in the first place. If you understand it, and you now have expectations that are very different from the ones you had prior. And in our program, we are going to also have them write out a plan for when they're going to get out. We'll have them write out resumes. We'll have them write out what their plan is going forward with their life, with their passion, with their financial aspects. And we'll give them certifications for taking the course. And we'll bring in local businesses that hire parolees, and we'll say, look, these guys got a leg up. They went through this program. They put the time and effort in. They wrote out a plan, right? And we did some interview skills. We'll do, resume writing skills. These people have a vision and they have ambition. So let's give them opportunity. Let's give them a hand up. Put them in a better position. So that's our commitment and what we're trying to accomplish in that area. It's just much the same as what we're doing with military, and hopefully one day I can get back into the Salvation Army, get that going, and other areas. But this is a global, conversation. We're in 4 countries, and right now, and looking at more, because financial literacy is pretty much the same everywhere in the world.
Right.
Everybody worries about money.
Right.
And fortunately, I've got global financial background. I was in interest rate futures in the trading pits of Chicago for 16 years. And interest rates control everything all over the world. So it's once you understand that, the rest of it falls into place. But
wow.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
Using it to try and do good.
I like that. So Bill, for the book and connecting with you, and more about how you help and serve people, where are we going to send our listeners so that they can follow your journey and get to know more about their mindset on money?
Yeah, it's so I have a podcast out as well. I have a monthly report that I put out as well. Free. Everything's free. The book is not free, but you can go to moneymindsetmedia.com. It's moneymindsetmedia.com. Or you can reach out to me is bill@billhaase.com. And my last name, Haase, is Haase. Not 2 S's, 2 A's. But bill@billhaase.com. Either way. But I suggest you go to moneymindsetmedia.com, because there's a lot of good stuff on there. And I'm giving it away.
Mm-hmm.
This is about making an impact, not making an income. That's what separates me from some of those other financial folks.
I like that. That. Very practical, Bill. As I listened through on Audible, it was great, again, to have you keep me company, and you can hear the passion in your voice about what you're talking about. Let's just end off with this, Bill. One practical thing with someone listening: there's more month than there is money this month in May when we're recording this.
Oh, yeah.
What's something they can do right away, right when you have more month than you have money? What can I do?
After you paid your bills, question everything you spend money on. Everything. Is this something you need, something you want? Because, this economy could last for a while. It could change dramatically in a short period of time. It can get worse. We don't know. So it's better to prepare. Prepared, trust me, life is going to happen, and you're going to get a hit. I got hit with a $13,000 sewage bill a week before I left to go on my book tour in Australia. Do you think I needed a bill like that after all the money I'm putting out to go to Australia? No, that was crushing. But so hold on to your money, because life will happen. It will cost you, but just question everything you spend money on outside of the bills you're paying, especially with credit cards.
And with your partner, make sure you're on the same page, working towards the same goal. So you're not going in different directions, right? Money
kills relationships, right? So if you're both on the same page, and you're going to be a lot happier, and you're going to enjoy, you're going to know greater love, you're going to have a better relationship.
Bill, thank you so much for doing this. Our mindset on money, it's easy to control, so why don't we, everyone, go grab a copy. If you're like me and you're working and you don't have time to read in the moment, grab the book anyway, because you're going to want to read it later, but grab the audio version as well. And Bill will keep you company no matter what you're doing, walking the dog, working at work. Bill's right there with his sweet voice reading to you, and it's wonderful. So, Bill, thank you so much for being part of the show and all the great things that you're up to in the future and all the people you're going to help. It's amazing. So keep going. We're cheering you on here.
Thank you very much, David. I appreciate you helping me get the word out and maybe help some more.
Excellent. Thanks, Bill. Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee, okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5. Kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening. But you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.